Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're digging into something pretty fundamental for anyone interested in how kids learn.
Yeah, it's about how much a parent's own confidence, their belief in their ability to parent, effectively actually links up with how involved they get in their child's school life.
Exactly. We're talking about this idea of parenting self-efficacy and its connection to the homeschool partnership.
And for you listening, someone who likes to get straight to the point, this is really about understanding those, hidden drivers behind educational success. It connects that inner feeling of capability to actual tangible actions.
It's that aha moment, potentially. And we're grounding this discussion in some serious research, a big meta-analysis.
Right, published just recently, August 2024, in the Educational Psychology Review. It synthesized 50 different studies,
50 studies, that's quite a pool of data.
over 20,000 children involved. So it gives us a pretty robust look at this relationship between parent confidence and how they engage with schools.
So our mission today is to unpack that, to pull out the key findings, make sense of the connections and the nuances without you needing a PhD to follow along.
Let's do it. Give you the core insights without the overwhelm.
Okay, let's start broad. The overall connection, what did this massive study find? Is there a link between parents feeling capable and being involved?
Yes, definitely. The headline finding is a small to medium positive correlation. They put a number on it, R equals 0.189.
Okay, and R is that statistical measure of how closely two things move together, right?
Exactly. So 0.189, it tells us there's a noticeable positive trend. As parenting self-efficacy goes up, overall homeschool partnership tends to go up too.
It's not like a perfect lockstep relationship, but it's definitely there.
It's statistically significant, yeah. It confirms that feeling more capable as a parent is generally associated with being more involved in your kid's education.
That itself is a key point. Even a modest boost in confidence seems to matter. Now, I found this next part really interesting. They didn't just treat parenting confidence as one big thing, did they?
No, and that's crucial. They distinguish between general parenting self-efficacy,
Mm-hmm.
like your overall confidence in, managing bedtime, discipline, the day-to-day stuff.
Just feeling like a competent parent overall.
Right. Versus education-focused parenting self-efficacy. And this is more specific. It's about feeling confident you can actually help your child succeed in school.
So things like helping with homework, knowing what questions to ask the teacher, understanding the school system.
Precisely. Confidence in that domain.
Mm-hmm.
And the analysis found a difference in how strongly these two types link to the homeschool partnership.
Okay, which one had the stronger connection?
The education-focused self-efficacy. That had a correlation of 0.183,
Mm.
0.183 with the partnership.
And the general confidence.
That was lower, 0.114. Still positive, but weaker.
Huh. So feeling specifically able to help with school stuff is a bigger driver of engaging with the school than just feeling like a generally good parent.
That seems to be the implication. It suggests that if you want to boost parental involvement with schools, focusing on building confidence around those specific educational support roles might be more effective.
That makes a lot of sense, actually. More targeted.
It feels more directly relevant to the actions involved in partnering with a school.
Okay, so we've got the overall link and the fact that education-specific confidence seems more potent. But homeschool partnership itself isn't monolithic either, right? The study broke that down, too.
Absolutely. They looked at it from 4 different angles based on the study they
What
reviewed.
are those angles?
First, there's home-based involvement. Pretty straightforward, helping with homework, talking about the school day, reading together, that kind of thing at home.
Okay.
Second, school-based involvement. This is stuff like volunteering at the school, attending parent-teacher nights, going to school events.
Right, being physically present at the school.
Third, homeschool communication and relationships. So the quality of the interactions between parents and teachers, how well they communicate.
Got it. And the fourth?
Parental expectations and aspirations. Basically, what parents believe their child can achieve academically, their hopes for their future education.
Okay, 4 distinct areas. Did parents' self-efficacy link equally strongly to all of them? Or were there differences there too?
Big differences, actually. The strongest connections were found for home-based involvement and for those parental expectations and aspirations.
Both of those. How strong?
Both came in with a correlation, that R value again of 0.248, noticeably stronger than the overall average we mentioned earlier.
Okay, so confidence really seems tied to what parents do at home to support learning and what they believe their child can achieve. What about the other two?
School-based involvement was weaker, .124, 0.124.
And the communication and relationship
That
aspect.
was the weakest link, actually. Only 0.090, 0.090. Barely significant, really.
Wow. So feeling confident doesn't necessarily translate strongly into, say, showing up at every school fair or having super close relationships with teachers.
It seems less directly linked, yeah. The connection is much clearer when it comes to actions parents take within their own home environment or the beliefs they hold.
Why do you think that is? Does the study suggest any reasons?
Well, the researchers speculate it might be about perceived control or agency. Parents likely feel they have more direct influence over helping with homework or setting aspirations for their child.
Things they can do themselves in their own space.
Exactly. Whereas school-based involvement or building relationships with teachers involves interacting with an external system, other people, maybe navigating schedules or, school culture, that might depend on more than just the parent's internal confidence.
That makes intuitive sense. It's easier to feel effective in your own domain. Okay, what about other factors? Did things like income level or ethnicity or the child's gender change this basic picture?
They looked into that. The meta-analysis tested for what they call moderating effects, basically, asking if the strength of the link between self-efficacy and involvement changed depending on these demographic factors.
Child gender, socioeconomic status, ethnicity, even the type of sample, like, was it the general population or a specific group?
Right, they checked all those, and interestingly,
What did they find?
they found limited statistically significant evidence that these factors moderated the overall relationship.
So the basic connection, more confidence, more involvement, seemed to hold reasonably steady across these different groups.
Largely, yes. The overall pattern seemed pretty consistent.
But they added a note of caution there, didn't they? Saying it doesn't mean these factors have zero impact.
Precisely. Meta-analyses are great for spotting broad trends, but sometimes the way data is combined can wash out subtler differences within specific groups. They might lack the statistical power to detect weaker moderation effects.
So there might still be nuances, they just weren't strong enough to show up clearly across all 50 studies combined.
Exactly. And they did mention observing a couple of trends, even if not statistically significant overall. For instance, the link seemed potentially stronger in studies focusing on specific groups, like parents of children with special needs.
That makes sense. Confidence in navigating that specific system could be particularly vital.
It could be. And they also saw a sort of hint of a possible gender difference in how self-efficacy plays out, but again, not strong enough to be conclusive from this data.
Interesting areas for future research, perhaps. But the main takeaway is the general consistency.
Right. The core finding holds. Parenting self-efficacy, especially the education-focused kind, is positively linked to homeschool partnership across various populations.
Okay, so let's pull this together. We're seeing that a parent's belief in their ability to support their child's education is a significant factor.
Yes, it really reinforces existing theories in this area, like the Hoover-Dempsey model of parental involvement.
Right, I've heard of that. What does it say?
Well, a key part of that model is that parents get involved partly because they believe they can make a difference, and they feel capable of doing what's needed. That's self-efficacy right there. It's a core motivator.
So this meta-analysis provides broad empirical support for that theoretical idea.
Exactly. And it also touches on the idea that this isn't just a one-way street,
Meaning,
meaning that positive interactions with the school can actually boost a parent's self-efficacy. It can be a positive feedback loop.
so if a parent tries to get involved, feels welcomed, gets good information, sees it helps their child, that success builds their confidence to do more.
Absolutely. It's likely a reciprocal relationship. School actions matter too.
Okay, so thinking about the practical side,
Hmm.
what are the implications here for, say, schools or even parents listening?
Well, for schools, a major implication is that they should probably pay attention to parents' confidence levels, not just their actions. Actively working to build parenting self-efficacy seems like a really important strategy for strengthening those homeschool ties.
How could a school actually do that? What would that look like?
They could offer workshops, maybe on understanding the curriculum or effective ways to help with homework without, causing battles.
Practical skills and knowledge building.
Yes. And also creating a welcoming environment, making communication clear, positive, and accessible. Ensuring parents feel like valued partners whose input matters. That itself can be a huge confidence booster.
So it's about empowerment, really, giving parents the tools and the feeling that they can effectively support their child's learning journey in partnership with the school.
That's a great way to put it. And the payoff, according to this research, is likely to be stronger partnerships and ultimately better outcomes for the kids.
Makes sense. Invest in the parents' confidence, strengthen the partnership. Now, what about future research? Where does this field go next? Did the study point out gaps?
It did. The researchers suggested a few interesting paths. One was to look beyond just self-efficacy to a broader idea of parental self-regulation.
Self-regulation, what does that include?
It includes self-efficacy, but also things like how parents manage their own emotions related to schooling, how they plan, how they solve problems that come up. A more holistic view of parental functioning in the educational context.
So, not just can I do it, but also how do I manage myself while doing it?
Sort of, yeah. They also called for better ways to measure the homeschool partnership itself.
How so?
Many current measures are a bit basic, just counting attendance at events, for example. They suggested we need more nuanced tools that capture the quality of interactions, the two-way communication, the sense of trust and collaboration.
Moving beyond quantity to quality.
Right. And also more research designs that can really get at cause and effect.
Like following families over time. Longitudinal studies.
Exactly. Longitudinal studies and also experimental studies, maybe testing specific interventions designed to boost self-efficacy and seeing if that directly causes an increase in positive partnership behaviors.
Getting closer to understanding what really works.
And one other thing they mentioned was using person-centered approaches. Instead of just looking at averages, trying to understand different profiles or patterns of how individual families and schools interact, recognizing there isn't just one way this relationship works.
More tailored insights. Okay, that makes sense. Now, no study is perfect. We have to talk about limitations. What did the researchers acknowledge about this meta-analysis?
A key one, as often is the case, is the reliance on cross-sectional studies for most of the data.
Meaning data collected at one point in time.
Right. Which means, strictly speaking, you can't definitively prove that self-efficacy causes involvement, or if involvement builds self-efficacy, or if some other factor influences both. Correlation isn't causation.
The classic limitation. Anything else?
They mention having to exclude some studies that used more complex statistical methods, which maybe limited the scope slightly, and they highlighted the significant heterogeneity between the studies.
Heterogeneity. Meaning lots of variability.
Yeah, the 50 studies weren't all identical. They defined and measured homeschool partnership and even self-efficacy in slightly different ways. That variation can make it harder to draw perfectly precise conclusions or pin down those moderating effects we talked about.
So we see the general pattern, but the details varied quite a bit across the original research. That's important context.
Definitely. It adds a layer of complexity to interpreting the specific numbers.
Okay, so wrapping up our deep dive then, what's the single most important takeaway message for listeners from all this?
I think it's that parents' confidence, especially their confidence related to supporting their child's education, really does matter. It's not just a nice to have, it appears to be a genuine factor that contributes to building a stronger, more effective partnership between home and school.
And understanding that connection is valuable for anyone invested in helping kids thrive, parents, educators, policymakers.
Absolutely. It points towards supporting parents' sense of capability as a key lever for improving engagement and, likely, student success.
So, maybe a final thought to leave everyone with. Consider how that internal belief, that confidence a parent holds about helping their child learn, might send ripples outwards. How it might affect conversations at home, interactions with teachers, maybe even the child's own belief in themselves. What small shifts in schools or even just in how we talk about these things could help build that foundation of confidence for a stronger partnership?
A powerful question to ponder.
Indeed. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us today. We'll catch you next time.